Hey guys, Gary here for another exclusive movie review. I'm going to review Superman the movie and Superman 2. After watching both Superman the movie and Superman 2 films again, one thing is clear: the more times I've watched them, the more silly and campy they become. I watched these films at a very young age, even before I knew what a comic book was or even a superhero was. Around the time I was in such awe of Superman, I wrapped a red bath towel around my neck and ran around the house pretending to fly. I'll tell you, I did better pretending to fly while I was awake than I was asleep. Haha, our neighbor next door caught me opening up my bedroom window on the second floor of our house. He rushed over to tell my mother that a child wearing a bath towel was attempting to jump out the window. You can only imagine how on the spectrum my neighbor must have thought I was. So no broken bones. My mother caught me before I broke any legs. So ever since you could go to your local video store, I begged my parents to rent Superman movies every time we entered one. As a child, the idea of Superman, especially these first two films, inspired me. Not necessarily to do anything specific, but they always gave me the feeling of inspiration. The opening of 1978 Superman starts off on Krypton. As soon as it does, it takes this origin seriously. It's given a superior feeling of historic myth or legend that glued me right in. We meet Brando's Jor-El and this intelligent and firm and stoic scientist who Kal-El inherits his traits despite being raised by Earthling folk. The story goes, and this film is no different, Jor-El warns Krypton's High Council on the impending doom of Krypton. But Krypton's leaders are so set in their ways of life, the council believes they're indestructible and Jor-El's paranoid. So Jor-El takes it upon himself to create a ship for his son so he can live on. And they are fully aware what Kal-El could become under a yellow sun. Every time I watch this first half hour, no matter how dated these films are, I'm in awe at Brando's performance. Even Terrence Stamp's limited role in the beginning, the acting all around is superb. Moving forward on Earth, it keeps the same tone for the first little bit. As Kal-El becomes Clark Kent, we are introduced to Martha and Jonathan Kent as they raise him over his childhood years. Jonathan teaches the morals and values of a good and wholesome man before something dramatic takes place. And despite the stirring away from too much emotion, using a wide shot, you definitely feel it here as someone loses their life. After some time, Clark feels that he must leave home to try and discover himself. Must have been nice. Most of us were forced to leave our home to get a job. One of my favorite and iconic moments in this film is in the first hour. After an educational lecture with Pa Kryptonian, there is a wide shot of Clark, now in the iconic Superman outfit. He flies towards the screen with a powerfully chilling, iconic John Williams score. And after all of that, the tone changes a bit into a more silly, fun, and campy style for kids. But the story is still cohesive with the first hour. Next, we meet Lex Luthor and his dim-witted henchman and woman. This Lex Luthor, I definitely enjoy his twisted side, but the scheme to take over beachfront property is a bit underwhelming. It would have been nice to add more of his personality as a more business tycoon rather than a land tycoon, and a villain who has more influence and manipulates people. Like the comics, but maybe that was before this film's time. After we are introduced to Lois Lane and some of the minor characters in the Daily Planet, the story develops a flirtatious relationship between Superman and Lois Lane. And it's of course in such a PG way. It's like this all throughout, where both characters lock eyes and smirk at one another. The extent of their flirting is a romantic flight scene around New York, Metropolis City. If you've seen the movie, you'll understand why I said New York. With the Krypton sequence and the lead up to Superman flying towards the screen, my second favorite scene is a helicopter rescue. with the Krypton sequence and the lead up to Superman flying towards the screen, my second favorite scene is the helicopter rescue, where Superman reveals himself to the world. After saving Lois from falling out of a chopper, again the Superman theme plays here and it just gets me every time. I also found it really nice that even though Lex was the villain and caused a lot of the destruction, it plays out like a disaster film for the last half hour. As Superman races to fix the San Andreas fault line and save lives in between, it's a cool sequence that gets to end with some emotional and reversible heartache. Superman is really the only character with any emotional depth. Not Kal-El or Clark, and really no one else. And it's too bad. I feel all the silly and clumsy moments, both on Clark and on Lex's side, there was room for personal growth. I would have liked to see more of a home life with Clark. In Metropolis, what does he do when he chooses time off from saving lives? Getting right into Superman 2, they dive right into Lois and Clark on a fake honeymoon at Niagara Falls. We get a sense as a viewer that their relationship as friends has grown, just with how comfortable they both are around each other. In this installment, we are given the 3 Kryptonians from the first act of the original film, and the leader, General Zod. As a kid, I remember this film being the one I watched the most out of all of the Superman films, because as a kid, I thought it had the most action. But one thing I noticed earlier on, in between Superman and the 3 Kryptonians, Non is the only one who throws a punch in the bat sequence. Superman goes to charge Non. The assumption is he goes to charge to punch Non back. But Superman slows down in the air to slightly nudge Non with a kick. Characters throw each other around afterwards against cars and Coke signs. I guess that's what I thought action was at 7. A subplot in Superman 2 is Kal-El's mortalization. After expressing his love for his Lois, he makes a choice to become human. This subplot lasts literally 5 minutes until Clark finds out that Zod is on Earth. I don't know, but it would have been more interesting to see more of Clark's vulnerability and try to face Zod as a human before eventually finding his way back to Superman. Lex is back in this outing. He manages to escape the confines of prison around the world in 80 Days style. He plays a secondary villain this time, and it's wasted, with him using the same scheme with the same comic and campiness as the first time. The time Lex spent on screen could have been used more productively on Kal-El or even Zod's character. The climax in Superman 2 was also pretty campy compared to the original. There are moments of Superman's heroics, but in fact they're minuscule. Both films try and take the material seriously, but when it comes down to the takedown of villains, it's done in a very playful and wholesome way. It becomes really campy. Even so, I still find both films enjoyable and entertaining for what they are. Watching these films gives me nostalgia every time, and memories come back from my childhood. Definitely, I'd recommend Superman the movie much more than Superman 2, but again, they are first of their kind, so you can take them for what they are, and that's entertainment. And always, thanks for watching. You agree or disagree, put a comment down below me.